Hey everybody, this is Perch, and here's a quick viewer question. This question says, "Hey Perch, are you tired of mumbles? Jesus Christ, will the guy get off your back?" And now there's this other little a-hole who's got like a little top hat in the avatar who is an even bigger jerk. Seriously, why don't these people just relax? uh, I love you. Anyway, yeah, see, my car even agrees. Yeah, no. Uh, I, it Mumbles keeps me humble. That's all I can say. So all good. Uh, I feel like Mumbles has got to be tired of it too, though. With all the videos coming out, like there's only so many times you can complain about the trashy audio before it's like, I mean, he's got to feel as repetitive as I do sometimes. That's all I'm saying. I don't know who the a-hole with the top hat is. I'm not. I don't pay enough. I look at a lot of comments through YouTube's little channel manager stuff. You don't get as much information, and sometimes you don't get the comments at all. And there's this weird zone where if enough people like the comment, just and not a ton, not like the number one, but like a bunch of people like the comment, it starts to disappear. It's a very kludgy software. I don't know. I mean, YouTube needs some better tech people. That's all I'm saying here. I think there's some clear problems there. All right, but here's another question, a more probably one more people find more interesting. It says, can creators misunderstand their own creations? This is a great question. So it says, hey, Perch, suppose a creator created a comic book superhero who was a mystical being like Spawn or Spectre, but his alter ego was a chef. The book takes off because people think the superhero is awesome and love the gritty tone, and the writer returns a year later to do a prestige miniseries, but the writer makes it all about the superhero as his life as a chef, devoting most of the pages to pictures of food, dialogue about cooking, etc., with only a few pages about superhero stuff, and when criticized, the creator says, I think I understand my own creation better than you. I'd argue, and tell me if I'm wrong, this creator misunderstands his own creation, or hers, come on now, or theirs, I guess. No, it's his or hers. Sorry, oh damn it, I'm canceled. Shit. Sorry, back to the question. Or at least misunderstand the appeal. And there might be writers out there who would be more competent than the creator himself in writing the character. I bring this up because I've seen so many fan disputes where a superhero got established in a certain way, only for the creator to come out and tell fans they are wrong, like Alan Moore dunking on Rorschach fans, even though Rorschach's moral absolutism makes him one of the most moral characters in the Watchmen book, even if he is basically a mentally ill, homeless vigilante. Is it reasonable to assert at times that a creator misunderstands his or her creation? Great question. What an awesome question that is, actually. So, yes, absolutely. But it comes down to the wording a little bit. So the creator certainly understands what the creator was going for better than anyone else. It's because it's in their head. They know what they were going for. They know the original idea that they had. However, what the creator doesn't know, and increasingly a lot of creators miss on this aspect, is there's a difference between what's in your head and what comes across. So a lot of people have real blinders in terms of how people consume their work. It goes back to kind of, I mean, the whole thing is, how is your personality, how is your character, how is your writing, how is your art, how is all of it landing with the people you're selling to? And in many cases, the creator might say, or has said, I don't really care how it lands. If you're in a commercial field, you kind of have to care. But if not, if you're a fine artist and you really don't care about making money, and it's your art, and your art can be whatever you want, and whether or not you understand how your art is being interpreted, you don't really have to care. If you're not looking to get anything out of it, if you're not looking to profit or gain notoriety, you're just doing it because you love it and you don't really care beyond that, then I guess it really doesn't matter. But that's not the case for the vast majority of artists, be they writers, artists, people in entertainment, however it happens to be. Those people actually need, ideally cash. They need, monetary compensation for what they do, or they need recognition for what they do. Kind of A or B, and usually A. And so you kind of have to be aware of how you're being interpreted, how your work is coming across. And it's pretty common that a creator has an idea in their head, and it's like, this is how I view my creation. and they put it out into the world, and either they don't tell the story, in a way that communicates their idea well, or somebody grasps on to an aspect of it that is different from what they intended. I mean, I'm relatively sure that the creators of the Matrix did not intend red pill, blue pill, to become the kind of meme s kind of thing that it did. But it did become that, and that is how the masses interpreted that particular scene, that particular thing. And so you could sit there and you can go, well, that's not what I meant. That's fine, but that is how people took your work. And you have a choice of fighting against that or not. If you fight against it, you are doing the very definition of swimming upstream, and you're leaving a lot of value on the table. I think one of the aspects of creating comics and creating commercial work is that you kind of have to care how people view what you do. If you want to keep selling, you have to care. Where it gets all goofy with current comics is that, a number of creators are hired by the publisher. They're hired for a variety of reasons, not all of which, or not many of which, are commercial. The commercial gets to you in the end. That's the big kind of argument or debate or thing that I try and remind people of, is they're like, well, why are the publishers hiring these people that can't sell? It's like, yeah, but eventually they do go away. That is the end result. It doesn't happen as fast as you might like. Sometimes they hire another person that also commercially doesn't sell, but eventually the experiment runs its course, and it's over. I will put a lot of people disagree with me on my takes about Ta-Nehisi Coates and kind of how he's hired and everything else. But look, Coates is not working for Marvel right now. You could, maybe Coates said, I'm tired. I've written everything I plan to write. But if he was a superstar at Marvel, they would have coughed up the cash to keep him going. You would see him writing the Avengers right now, or who knows what. Coates wanted to write Spider-Man. That was what was in his mind. That's what he really, really wanted to do. Now, Coates has not written Spider-Man. They just announced a new writer for Spider-Man. It wasn't Coates. So, eventually the fact that Coates was on comics and really didn't sell caught up with him. It's somewhat binary where that's concerned. You can hire whoever you want, but if they don't connect with the audience, sooner or later, they go away. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like people often learn from those lessons, so we keep repeating it over and over and over again. But I mentioned this before. Look at all the people that everybody was all pissed off about back in 2016. Most of them aren't in comics anymore, or they're off doing very low selling indie work. It's Cena Grace is not the head writer for X-Men. Take that for what you will. He's also not the head writer for Batman. So, that tends to be what happened. But anyway, I think it's to me, I've heard creators complain about this. Why do so many people keep misinterpreting, misunderstanding my creation? And the answer back is, well, maybe you didn't describe your creation well enough. I mean, is it the fans' fault? Is it the children that are wrong? I mean, if Alan Moore is a good example. Alan Moore clearly had something different in his mind. Alan Moore can sit there and say all the fans misinterpreted what I was going for. That's fine. I think from his vantage point and where he is in his career and everything else, he can do whatever he wants. He can run around naked and wave snakes at people. He's established a position in his career where he can do that, and screw it. But for most people, if you want to keep working in comics, you want to keep selling things, you want to keep that kind of customer connection, then at some point, you're going to have to actually do the connection part. And I think it's especially in kind of today's world, I think it's really common that writers, come up with something, the centerpiece of their creation. Like, use the example for a chef. It's a pretty good example. I think there are creators who come up with something and, like, the most interesting part of this character is the chef part. And the vast majority of readers are like, no, it's the superhero bit. Don't care at all about the chef bit. The chef bit was actually the reason why the chef bit was interesting is because it made for such a good tonal shift when the brutality kicks in later. That was kind of the funny part. But you don't make a comic about the chef part. That would be crazy. And to be fair, I think a lot of creators are encouraged by customers, by fans who will go on social media and fluff the parts that they know the creator likes. And so the creator gets this idea of like, look, all the feedback I'm getting is positive about the chef part. It's like, yeah, but you're listening to the point, 1% of the people buying your comic. You're not actually listening to the people who buy your comic. And also, to be fair, I think the publishers and the editors do a really crap job of letting the creators in on what people are thinking. Creators have to dig hard and sometimes never get the numbers of the books that they sell. It is difficult to get. If there's any kind of market research or any kind of response to the characters that comes into the company, it rarely gets to the creators, and that is broken. And I mean, creators out there listening to this, please push harder to get information about your characters. If you're Marvel or DC, owned by parent companies that on other parts of their business are maniacal about collecting data, there's data out there about your creations. Go dig, push to find it. Unfortunately, I mean, you're probably pushing up against your editor, who probably also doesn't know. I mean, I think people misunderstand the giant wall and gap between lower level editorial and senior management in the company. There's a huge gap there, and it sucks. But anyway, so a great question. I think it's absolutely true. I think that it happens all the time, and it's a shame. But anyway, what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. What are some examples of characters you think that the fan reaction of the character went one way and the creator belief of what made them cool went a different way? Let me know what you have in the comments below. Great question, and thanks for listening. Screw you, Mumbles.